What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? And in this tier list video, I have a very fun exercise that we are going to be doing. I'm going to be ranking every NBA team into their market size and what I think they are. We always hear, are they a small market team? Are they a big market team? Could they be actually a free agency destination? And in today's video, I'm going to be ranking all 30 teams because I did this kind of once, like an exercise with my friends, but we were doing it with all different sports leagues. And it gets kind of challenging with those because, like, the Lakers, big market team, right? Spoiler alert. But the Rams, are they a big market team? Possibly. The Chargers, like, you go to the Charger Stadium, it's a lot of, like, away fans, but that also doesn't take into account market size. But NBA works out because there's trades, and a lot of players have their trading destinations they want to go to, and a lot of free agency moves. Football, there's been a lot more trades as of late, and free agency signing. Same with MLB and stuff, but I'm only doing this strict on the NBA. I don't care about their NFL teams. I don't care about their MLB teams. It's really where their NBA teams stand, and this is just kind of my public perception. Obviously, you're going to look at these a lot different, and don't be upset if I call your favorite team a small market team. It's just really where they are relative to the rest of the NBA teams. Like, obviously, there's going to be some small market teams if there is going to be some big market teams. Not every team is a big market, and middle markets are pretty much ones that I feel like could be not either or, but it's just like, I can't call them like top tier big market like everybody would want to sign here, or small market. And I'm kind of going to look at past trends too. Were they able to sign free agents mainly after destination? Did players want to get traded here on their trade lists? Stuff like that, you know. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. This might be a colossal failure. We'll see, but that's why it's an exercise and I want to try it out. So yeah, let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with down below. We are going to just go in order. So Philadelphia, already a tough one to start off. I want to call them a big market team. I mean, biggest free agency signing they've got in the last 5 years is technically Al Horford. They've traded for Jimmy Butler. I mean, I wouldn't say really, I don't know. I want to call Philly a big market. Like, because, I mean, maybe I'll have to use other sport leagues as like a relative trend as well. I don't know. Philly might end up being middle market. And I'm going to probably rank their markets as well. So they might be like the smallest big market team, if that makes sense. Washington. DC, nation's capital. I want to say it's a middle market team. It's probably going to be at the middle to the end of the middle market teams, and I'm going to rank each team in each tier where I think their market size is. So, yeah, I'm going to go with them there. Now, Atlanta. You would think Atlanta's a big market team, but I feel like they haven't. I mean, yeah, they got Bogdanovich and Gallo in the last couple of years, and they've gotten guys before like Paul Millsap. I don't know. ISO Joe. I don't think they're a big market team. And then, like, if I were going to use, like, I guess the Braves are a semi-big market team in the MLB. The Falcons, you wouldn't really call them they're a huge market over there. And it really kind of matters on team success for the last couple of years. I think they're in the middle, but we'll change. Cleveland, I'm sorry, you're a small market team. Like, Cleveland would be on the same tier as some of these other small market teams for the last, like, for their franchise existence if it weren't for LeBron James. LeBron James at one point made them a big market team where they were getting every TV game, where they were in the finals constantly, and they were probably one of the more, I guess, successful franchises in terms of revenue because of LeBron James. But just if you take out their franchise existence without LeBron James, they're a small market team. They're a fun small market team right now. I love the Cavs. I love watching Mobley and Garland play, and Rubio before he got hurt, and Sexton before he got hurt, and even Markkanen and Okoro. But they're a small market team. Doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean they're poverty. Doesn't mean they're losers. It just means overall market size. Cleveland's not that big in the NBA market. So, like you could say college football, yeah, they're a big market team. Cleveland itself, when you got Cincinnati, you got Ohio State in there, and like, yeah, definitely you could say so. But basketball, small market team. Detroit, also same thing, small market team, I think. I feel like Detroit itself, right now they're in kind of a slump in all their sport teams. Like Lions suck, Pistons suck. Tigers are kind of on the way up. And I don't know the Red Wings. I'm not too familiar. Like I'm like even like not. I'm not a casual hockey fan. I'm even below that. Like I don't know much about hockey. All I know is like the Rangers are doing well this year. The Islanders couldn't win a game and they're a new arena, but it's a nice one. Okay, I'm rambling. They're a small market team, nonetheless. And yeah, like you don't really see anybody going to Detroit willingly. That's a big free agent, and doesn't mean they're bad, doesn't mean they're poverty. I have to stress that because I'm not shitting on the city of Detroit. Just for basketball, it's a smaller market. I think you can agree with that. Indiana. Now, Indiana, I would say, would be a smaller market because they got two other sport teams. You have the Colts there. Wow, I'm going to make a lot of other league references more than I wanted to. But the Pacers itself is a huge basketball city. It has a lot of basketball history. It's huge in just kind of the overall culture there. In Indianapolis, Indiana, I'm not sure if it's like big in Fort Wayne or the other parts of Indiana. But I'm going to, that alone, I'm going to leave it as a middle market team. Milwaukee. Ooh, Milwaukee is tough because you asked me before, like, Giannis breaks out for them. They're a small market team. Right now, I think Giannis alone makes them a middle market team. He's a reason maybe Jrue Holiday wanted to re-sign there. And, like, I don't think Chris Middleton is doing anything like that. Like, it's pretty much because of Giannis. They're going from small market to bigger market. Now, in the NFL, the other Wisconsin team, like, you have Green Bay. They're big because of their franchise's history. Like, it's weird. Like, in the NFL, a lot of it, I think, comes to franchise history because of, like, Green Bay and their history. Like, Pittsburgh. You go to Pittsburgh, it is not a big market. No, there's not much to do there besides Penguins, Pirates, and Steelers. And in the NFL, you can consider them a big market team because they had the history. So, a lot of history goes into it. And I think Bucks are a middle market team. That one's going to be tough. Toronto. Toronto's either at the top of the middle market because Toronto, huge. They have a sports team in 3 of the 4 major American leagues. They just don't have a football team, obviously. Maybe one day. I don't know, though. There's a chance I put them in the big market, but for now, they're going to be in the middle market. Most of their talent has been homegrown over the last certain amount of years or via trade. They haven't really had big free agency signings. You don't really see people saying they want to go to Detroit. Like, DeRozan got traded. Kawhi left. Chris Bosh left. Lowry left, but he would have stayed there if their team was a little bit more competitive, so I'm not going to use him for an example. So I think they're in a middle market. I would have to decide who's the bigger middle market. Atlanta, Toronto. It's like a weird exercise. Like, what comes down to it? Past history? Population? I don't know. Dallas. I want to say Dallas is a big market. I do. They've had some history. They've been relevant for a long time now. At least with Dirk and now Luka. It's a big city in Texas. No property tax or very low property tax. No state tax, right? So players would want to go there. Now, they haven't had really a lot of free agency success in the last couple of years. So I'm going to leave them in big market. There's a chance I drop them down to middle market. And there's going to be a lot more middle markets than anything else. Denver. I think Denver's a middle to bottom, small market. I think they're a bigger market than Milwaukee, like in the grand scheme of things. But Giannis will be more attractive than Jokic at the moment. So I'm going to leave them in middle market. Memphis, they're a small market team. That's why I love that they have John Morant, because they're probably never going to get free agents unless it's like nobody's paying Colin Sexton and they have cap space and they're like, okay, youngin, you want to come here? Like, those are going to be their free agency signings unless they become like the Warriors, right? And John Morant becomes as, like, can hold the gravity. Because, like, we'll get to the Warriors in a little bit or at the end, but, like, Steph Curry made that Warriors team a big market team. They were not a big market. You could say they were even maybe smaller market rather than middle before Curry blew that team up, even got them to get Kevin freaking Durant, signing a top 5 player in the NBA at the time because of Steph Curry. And now they're one of the franchise's wealthiest teams. So, like, you can look at valuations of the franchise too if that makes them a big market. So we'll maybe compare that at the end. Minnesota, they're a small market team. Really nothing you can say about that. They kind of are in every sport with the Vikings, with the Twins, I guess with the Wild. I'm not really big in hockey. So San Antonio, honestly, I want to say is a middle market team. And overall they have been. But with like the big 3, they kind of became their, like with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, they became a big market for a little bit. Popovich as well. That brought them LaMarcus Aldridge. But now that LaMarcus Aldridge has left and is not like has left, Kawhi has left, I don't consider them a big market anymore. I think they're more of a middle market. They don't have any other franchise or sport team, so yeah. Utah, honestly, is a small market. I don't really know how I'm going to rank these in market size, but Utah is. But Utah has known how to draft. They've gone from, like, the Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, Kirilenko teams to, like, the Gordon Hayward era. Memento Core was there, geez. Kind of Al Jefferson was there, and then now they're in the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert era. Like, they would be one of, like a bottom team, but they know how to draft there. They have not gotten lucky. I would say it's very, like, skill based, but yeah, like, them drafting has made them not seem as a bottom tier market. But I'm telling you, if Utah, like, had one bad year or one time period where they didn't have a Donovan Mitchell or Gordon Hayward, a franchise guy for them at the moment, they would be known as one of the smaller market teams in the NBA. But people will go there because there's no other sports teams in Utah, at least in the 4 majors. Clippers, they're in LA, they're a big market. Lob City, Kawhi and Paul George, Yeah, and before that, not really as big. Before they made the Chris Paul move and they got Blake Griffin, I would say they were even a middle market, which is kind of not embarrassing for LA, but kind of crazy, right? Phoenix, middle market, but honestly close to big. Like that's tough. Like if I'm gonna put, I feel like I gotta put Phoenix, Philly, and Dallas on the same level. All right, so that might get changed. Portland, I want to say Portland's a smaller market, man. I do. Like Dame has helped them a lot. Like once Dame leaves, that's probably why they don't want to trade Dame in mode, because they're gonna be it's gonna be a little rough out there once they do. Sacramento, small market, even though every other team in California is a big market. I think Sacramento would be a smaller market. It also doesn't help with their team success over the last couple of years, or really for the last since 2003 or 4. That's the reason why Milwaukee right now. Like, if you asked me this in 2003, probably switch. I don't know. Knicks, big market. They'll always be, no matter team success. They're probably the second biggest market team in the league. Pelicans, smaller. I mean, they've had franchise changes. And I wouldn't say they're the smallest market team now. And they've gone from Anthony Davis to Zion Williamson, which is going to help. But either way, they're a smaller market team. It's more of a football city, you would say. Charlotte, they've been small. They have, but LaMelo Ball is going to make them a middle market team. It's just, that's what one player could do for a franchise, and that's why it's so important drafting these generational guys and not getting lucky, but just hammering these picks, because Curry made the Warriors so much more valuable. LaMelo will do the same for Charlotte. Giannis did the same for Milwaukee. You could say Jokic will do the same thing from Denver, but they kind of just went through it with Melo as well. That's what kind of Paul George did for Indiana. Beal is maybe doing for, or that's basically what John Wall did for the Wizards. Maybe after they were in some limbo after the Arenas, Jameson, Butler era. So like Trae Young put the Hawks back on track. Like it's like the big three for San Antonio and David Robinson. Houston, like I think them and Dallas are pretty close. I would even say Houston's a bigger market, but obviously team success right now will go into it. Miami, big market, they're top 3. Chicago, big market, 100%. If I had to rank these, it'd probably go this. Honestly, I may make a tier for like middle to big and then throw, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. I didn't want to. Brooklyn, I mean, New Jersey, middle to small market. First years in Brooklyn, still a small market. I honestly want to say that, what did I just do? Did I just throw these logos into here? Oh my God, we have duplicate logos now. This is, what the I have never seen this in a tier list before. And, okay, there we go. We're back. So, Brooklyn, are they a big market? They have to be, right? Honestly, I may throw them in, like, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm so sorry for this. Wait, I didn't want to do that. I'm so sorry for this, but I think it just makes so much more sense. I'm going to call it the middle market, big middle. I'm sorry, but I think it makes so much more sense to have, like, these teams in here. Like, you could even put the Clippers in here, honestly. I don't know. I don't know, because, like, you can tell me where you'd put these guys, but Thunder, they're a small market team. They've been, like, from going Seattle, Thunder, OKC, I don't think I'm actually going to rank the markets in between it. It's going to get too difficult. But, yeah, with, like, KD and Russ, now that era's gone, Paul George, Harden, all that, they're going to be a small market team for a while. Golden State, they're a big market, namely due to Steph Curry. Boston, see, this is where a thing where, like, maybe in other sports are not the big, no, Red Sox are a big market. Pats are technically a big market because of their team success. I don't know about the Bruins, but I assume they are. But yeah, Celtics, their history, they're a big market team. Lakers, big market. And honestly, Orlando, if it wasn't for Disneyland, they'd be one of the smaller markets, which is kind of crazy. So I kind of like this. Now, if I want to hammer down to 3 markets, do I put all 5 of these teams here into big markets? Or do I put them into middle? Or do I break it up? Do I put maybe Brooklyn and Philly into middle? And then put... No, because I feel like Phoenix and Philly are kind of close. And obviously Dallas and Houston are close. You know what? I want to see 3. So, like, these are going to be at the end of it. But, yeah, I'm just going to put these guys into big markets where I think they could be respectable free agency destinations. And, like, the Spurs obviously have a lot to say because of their team success. And, like, the Hawks might have a lot to say because of Trae Young. And the Raptors might have say because of Masai Ujiri and the way that franchise is run. So, like, a lot of factors go into this. Is really where their team is at right now. Do they have a franchise guy? Are they a well-ran franchise? And yeah, so like if I were to Google like kind of their values of each franchise right here. So you can see the Knicks. I put them in big market. I put the Lakers in big market. Bulls, Celtics, Clippers, Nets, Rockets, Mavericks. So this has kind of the Raptors as a bigger market. And I think that is probably the bigger market here. So yeah, maybe I'm going to get talked into the Raptors being a bigger market because you have Canada. They don't have the Vancouver Grizzlies anymore. And then that kind of makes sense. So maybe the Blazers are more middle market than I think they are. So you know what? I'm going to take that into account. I'm going to throw them in middle. I think I'd rather have more middle markets than smaller markets. I think Sacramento Okay, could also be. I could see that because they're a Californian team, and that fan base desperately wants them to succeed. And then Utah, and Washington. Yeah, I already have Washington there. I guess I could put Utah. Yeah, and I guess I was overvaluing Indiana a little bit. I was. Like Indiana's pretty far down. Atlanta's pretty far down, which is kind of crazy. And even Charlotte. Yeah, maybe Charlotte is a smaller market team. I don't know. I'm gonna leave them in there now. But yeah, like Memphis, I had smaller market. New Orleans, Detroit, Minnesota, Orlando. I had Cleveland, OKC, and smaller market. So I'm gonna end up with this. It's really kind of my opinion on that. But yeah, you can look at franchise valuation. You can look at like kind of home attendance. You can look at what free agency signings they've had in the last couple of years. You can look at revenue. You can look at all those factors. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. This was actually a very fun exercise. So let me know if you enjoyed by dropping a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.